My name is Andrea, and I am overseeing content strategy, creation, and certification programs. And today I'm thrilled to introduce you into the realm of GenAI with our GenAI App Store. These tools that are being created are crafted for access to applications that improve your professional tasks, that leverage your company's data with a focus on security and privacy, meaning that if this is your main concern, we are offering a lot of options for you to store the documents of your company, which are sensitive, into your own servers without any external parties having access to them. But this is in parallel to having access to our most top solutions, which are crafted by our Kaggle Grandmasters. And so these solutions simplify information retrieval, mainly through low to no code app frameworks, and they use a privately hosted large language model or more of them to ensure the secure preservation of your data within your organization's infrastructure. And so with this in mind, allow me to present you the table of contents. We are going to have a short introduction about the context of today's session. Why do we focus so much on generative AI nowadays? What is H2O AI's generative ecosystem? What are generative AI applications, and how do we leverage them in our own platform? And at the end, I'm going to wrap up. And of course, I will be taking questions from you, so don't hesitate to ask them in the Q&A tab here. And I will be more than happy to answer to them at the end of this video, with the recording being available afterwards. Okay, so in this fast-changing world of AI, everyone is talking about Gen AI or generative AI. Everyone is talking about large language models, and people are really excited about them. And this excitement actually is spreading, I think, like wildfire. It's been more than a year that everyone is so excited about them. Companies are not just recognizing these technologies, they are now fully embracing their power to transform things. Everyone is on a mission to create top-notch content using and leveraging them. They are on a mission to create personalized user experiences and better communication plans. And this has caused, I believe, a big change in what AI experts think is important, pushing companies to rethink and figure out how these abilities can make their product, services, and overall business strategies better. And so in this context, embracing generative AI is crucial in today's landscape for various reasons. So I found here 3 reasons that are impacting everyone. The first one is the society level or the societal level. The second one is at the company level. And a third one is at an individual level. So at a societal level, Gen AI fosters innovation and progress. And I think it propels us into a future where technology helps and enhances human capabilities. So I think that we can leverage artificial intelligence in general so that we address complex challenges more efficiently, such as, for example, finding solutions to environmental issues, advancing healthcare through personalized treatment plans, even more than before, enhancing communication with tailored learning experiences based on a particular individual preferences and keen to learning different mediums. On a company level, on the other hand, if we want to integrate GenAI, this will open up new adventures for creativity and efficiency. So the technology of artificial intelligence, especially in the realm of generative AI, can streamline and automate processes faster than before, can thus lead to cost savings and improved productivity. And so this Gen AI enables businesses to develop highly personalized products and services, and they are going to be able to cater to individual customers' needs and preferences better than before. As you see, we live in a society where initially we focus on the product, and then all the individuals are adopting those products. And that was the case 100 years ago, for example, and even more recently. But now there is a big shift where we live in a society that where companies focus on how to personalize the user's experience and how to improve it, with a focus on the user itself, himself or herself, and not only on the tools or the products themselves. So companies that embrace GenAI gain a competitive advantage by staying ahead in the innovation race. And so it means that if there are companies that use technologies, but they are not on board with this idea of generative AI, sometimes this can hinder their work and can render them less competitive. And finally, at the personal level, GenAI transforms, as I said, user experiences, whether it's through more intuitive applications, through more personalized content recommendations, or better communication. Individuals benefit from technology that understands and adapts to their preferences. And so this means that we as an AI company focus on making sure that the individuals benefit from technologies that customize their experiences. And here at H2O AI, this is exactly what we focused on the last couple of years with creating a lot of applications that are personalized on our customers' experiences, but which can also be used and leveraged in a wider variety of domains. And so I talked already in another course about the benefits of generative AI. Embracing Gen AI is important for societal progress, company competitiveness, and personal empowerment. And this drives a future that is, in my perspective, characterized by a lot of technological advancements that are more connected, more efficient, and personalized. And so integrating Gen AI in our daily life is natural because Gen AI is able to excel in, as you see here, content creation, creative assistance. Gen AI can showcase advanced language understanding, enable personalized user experiences, contribute to data augmentation, streamline automation of repetitive tasks, offer variety and versatility in different domains, etc. So these are just a couple of examples through which I think Gen AI is making a big impact in our society right now, because it does not give answers that are preset by some developer backend. It gives answers that are personalized and that can change depending on the user's feedback. And so the question here is, how do we as a company here at H2O AI approach generative AI? Because we have created an entire ecosystem, and our approach to incorporating right now generative AI concepts and functionalities in all our tools is extremely important. And this is actually one of our main priorities. So as in any data science pipeline, just to present to you a bit the enterprise GenAI platform, we start with with structured and unstructured data. So there is a workflow that we usually take into consideration, and we leverage all type of data that we can have either in audio format, PDF, PowerPoint, HTML, all sorts of formats in order to extract insights. And employing GUI frameworks, we facilitated this ingestion and preparation of data for large language model purposes. So because we have developed a lot of tools that are actually working with ingestion and data preparation, data adaptation, and data transformation, we are able to take almost, I think, any sort of data type and transform it into data inputs that are able to be read by our tools. And so this is where LLM Data Studio and H2O Label Genie come into place. These are just a couple of examples where we have tools that are ready for action and are ready to ingest data and to pre-process it so that it can be leveraged in the next steps. So to simplify the fine-tuning of large language models, such as LLM Studio, we develop tools that eliminate the requirement for coding expertise. Usually, you need to fine-tune these LLMs a lot when you apply them to a particular data set, and this is done usually by coding. But with LLM Studio, we took out this brick, and we integrated simpler way for everyone to fine-tune large language models to their specific cases without using code. This intelligence was integrated into tools like H2O Document AI, for example, that leverage intelligent character recognition and natural language processing to extract information from forms and all sorts of unstructured text. So this optimization, I think, streamlines the data collection process from diverse sources and improves various business functions. This is what we see in our clients' feedback. And so next up, to enhance our generative AI capabilities, we introduced H2O GPT, an open source model that is equipped with a large language model, a command line interface, and a user-friendly graphical interface. And users have the flexibility to craft their own GPTs if they desire, and they can integrate Python APIs with it. So it means that we give the framework to the user, and if the user desires, can start code to code more in it, and also can use it in a privately hosted environment. So this is where actually we dissociate ourselves from the competitors, because we offer this possibility to give this security and privacy to the confidential data its place, and to ensure our customers that they can be the only owners of their own data. Additionally, we introduced, for example, applications like Eval Studio, you see it here on the screen on the bottom, which continuously assesses and enhances the output quality. And we also created APIs for users to integrate these LLMs and applications that are developed by our Kaggle Grandmasters in all our tools. And so these functionalities are really what is the structure of the platform that we have called Enterprise GPT. I have a webinar that is focused on this tool available on YouTube if you are interested in discovering more about it. But mainly this tool takes H2O GPT capabilities as well as retrieval augmented generative technology, or RAG, and enhances the capability of data extraction from documents for for retrieving even more relevant information through vector databases. So this is actually a very powerful platform. Once again, it leverages RAG, it uses vector databases, and it has as a component LLMs that are using H2O GPT capabilities so that the user can interact with the tool itself. This is actually the process itself, briefly presented. But while the process may seem straightforward, it is important to mention that extensive knowledge was accumulated, I think, over hundreds of years by our colleagues in developing these tools. And I think this ensures great user experience. It takes out of all that back-end coding issues, and it diminishes the blocking points that might occur when the clients need to work on their business use cases. So that was the ecosystem that we have in GenAI, briefly presented. But GenAI is not only an ecosystem for us. It also has a lot of applications that we are able to develop. And in order to talk about the main apps that we are creating and the main use cases that we are actually developing for our clients, let's discuss a bit about what are generative AI applications. And I'm starting at the beginning just because I assume that some of you might not be completely aware about what they are. So just to give you a bit of a context, generative AI applications encompass a wide range of functionalities that include content and layout generation, the creation of images, graphs, icons from the provided data. It auto-completes for easy content summarization and structure. It creates a lot of things. So actually, when you create an application, if you incorporate generative AI functionalities, actually you help in prototyping, and designing a user interface that is even more personalized based on the user's data, and that facilitates a more efficient and streamlined user interface development process. So just to give you some examples here, GenAI can be applied to create custom user interfaces in various ways. As I said, content generation is one of them. We can create applications that create content, but what is interesting for these applications is the layout design. So AI algorithms can be used to generate user interface layouts based on specified parameters and user preferences. And this helps in creating visually appealing and user-friendly interfaces. So actually, you can have applications that either have a template, which you can customize, either have a facility for you to indicate what the template of your business need or business use case is. And without coding, through GenAI apps, you can actually have an output and an interface that you can work in. In this interface, you can also have images and icons and graphs or diagrams that are being generated based on the data that you're providing. So generative models can create custom images tailored for the application's aesthetics or branding. You also have more power to personalize. So the GenAI can analyze user behavior and preferences to customize the user interface dynamically. This, for example, includes adapting color schemes, font sizes, and layout that is based on individual user interactions. So we are not only talking about tweaking ourselves each sort of setting that we might find within the application. We are talking about having a dynamic interaction between the layers that give you an experience based on your own preferences and designs. Of course, there are a lot of other examples here. We can integrate chatbots and conversational user interfaces. Dynamic theming is another aspect that we took care of. So generative models can assist in creating dynamic themes, changing colors, styles, based on specific conditions or the user choices. So there are not only themes that are being given within the application, there are also themes that are being created while we show our interest in this type of personalization. So you see these applications showcase a lot of versatility of GenAI in shaping custom user interfaces to improve user experience and to make the development process more efficient for everyone. And so this was the very, very brief and simplified process of our H2O AI GenAI platform. And you see that at the end, so we start with the data sets themselves. We are training using different AI engines, those particular models. Then we are deploying them. We are able to use applications that create other applications. Then based on what we previously had, we incorporated a lot of LLM and GenAI capabilities. We gave this power also to the user to do the same if they wish. And so we arrived at the point where now we have so much experience in creating these applications with GenAI that we created a place for these applications. Some of them are public. The majority of them in these public repositories are open source. We have a lot of personalized applications for our customers and based on different industries. So the potential is huge here. And having an application means that you are going to personalize that application the best for that specific situation. But it also means that as many needs you have, as many applications you have, with the possibility of customization being endless. There is another application that we recently created, which is called GenAI App Studio. And so we also have a video that we recently published on this topic. And I would encourage you to take a look at it and see what I previously mentioned with respect to possible applications. So here in GenAI App Studio, we incorporated the majority of these functionalities into this application for easy web access AI tools creations, leveraging your own data. Okay. And so why GenAI apps? Well, just here, let me give you an idea. So large language models or LLMs are mainly shifting the focus of AI and machine learning from data experts and enthusiasts to the everyday individual. And this is what we are actually trying to create through our applications as well, meaning that we don't want to give the possibility only to the expert coders to develop tools. We also want to give this possibility to personalize these particular tools, leveraging GenAI to everyone. And so it is possible for regular users to upload documents, input prompts in a chat user interface, and experiment with different queries to obtain desired answers. Well, it was not possible until recently, and now it is absolutely possible through using a custom user interface. Well, actually, you can make the process more user-friendly, and in H2O GenAI App Store, we are aiming actually to do that. And I know I'm teasing you. We are going to have a demo with respect to it in a couple of moments, but allow me to explain what GenAI App Store is. And so generative AI is fueled by large language models, and it accelerates information retrieval in complex data. So in complex data sets. And I know I'm repeating some of the terms, but I want to make sure that you grasp the concept of what GenAI is doing. So LLMs collaborate with traditional models that have been used before, and they actually, through this collaboration, enhance result quality. And these applications perform tasks such as, answering questions, summarizing data, engaging in conversations, retrieving information from data and engaging in conversations with those documents, crafting feature stories, etc. And so here you can see are some examples where my colleagues developed specific use cases for clients, personalizing user experiences based on their domain queries. So the illustration here showcases apps, for example, in the financial sector, with numerous personalized categories on the left side of the screen that cater to individual business needs. So as you see, we have, until recently, when this screenshot was taken, 124 Gen AI applications, but this number is increasing every day. And we have also created categories based on the industries where our clients worked. And so we have a lot of use cases on, let's say, financial services, healthcare, telecom, some cases, computer vision, explainable AI. So these are just a couple of examples to show you that actually there is no limit in terms of what industry can Gen AI with its applications tap in. All the earlier customer applications that I showed you are powered by Gen AI and are scalable. And they can also be bundled as AI apps that are accessible to everyone. And so we aimed to extend this initiative to the public by sharing our expertise globally. And so that's why we introduced the GenAI App Store that you can see here a screenshot of, which is a platform where individuals can engage and explore different sort of circumstances. And we aim by doing this to offer these individuals, and to you actually, because this is an application open and available for you to access, we aim to offer a glimpse of the capabilities of the generative AI applications that we have. And so here you can see we have 16 applications on the left side of the screen. These are the categories. We have examples of applications that people can use in their own daily lives, but we also have some applications for some business use cases, just to showcase the potential of it. Every application being actually customizable, of course. And so, because I promised you this so much, let's actually connect to the Gen AI that h2o.ai. And so you can also reach this page by connecting to the h2o.ai website. And here, if you hover over the tab platform, you are going to see a third row in the first column of the generative AI called GenAI App Store. And so here, if you hover over, you see develop, deploy, and share safe and trusted applications for your organization. If I click on it, I am directed to the website genai.h2o.ai, and I encourage you to also use this link to connect, and let's explore a bit together the functionalities here and all the applications that we have. So I'm just going to diminish a bit or increase. Yeah. Okay, so here I am connected as a user, and I am able, I just want to diminish a bit this. Okay, I am able to see the categories that I promised you before, as well as the most popular applications that we created. We can see all of them. If I click here on see all, And so this is what I'm going to do. The first application is actually our enterprise H2O GPT platform. You need to create an account to access it. Of course, you can create an account if you wish to. The purpose is actually to go a bit and explore the other applications. But here, just as an example, let me click on it. This platform, as I said, leverages H2O GPT and RAG capabilities, and it gives you the possibility to create collections, which are places where you can store documents for different types of categories and interact with those documents. So here, for example, I have created one collection in a previous session, and it was on my webinar on Enterprise GPTE. And this is private, but I can share with other colleagues if I want this. And so here I have uploaded a document on European Union AI Act. And this document has 349 pages. And what I can do is actually create chat sessions where I can ask questions, and these questions are going to be answered based on the document information. Here, just an example, I asked, what is there to say about copyright infringements on GenAI? And I receive a lot of answers based on the text itself, with the references included in these answers. I can see the references also underneath that are being highlighted if I want to see this. Also, I can see the LLM prompt, I can see the usage stats, and all sorts of interesting things. I can also share this chat if I want to, as well as tweak the settings and use different generation approaches. So I can take out all those RAG options, but I can also select them if I want for all the generated use cases. I can give a personality to my H2O GPT and explain the context. I am able to choose myself, and of course I can upload more models if I want to, the models, the LLM being used. And if I scroll down, I can also put a prompt so that I emphasize some particular aspects that I'm interested in. Maybe I don't want it to hallucinate. I want to focus on particular areas when it answers, and I can actually update all this entire output based on what I want. So here it's an example of someone being a lawyer who is willing to go through this document very, very fast. This document, let's say it's confidential, it is uploaded on the company servers, so it doesn't go out because we install the platform on those company servers. And so, yeah, it's extremely useful. And I think at a lot of use cases that this platform can be used in. But this is just one of the applications and the platform that we are offering. And all the other ones are just some shorter examples to see that we can personalize even further our tools. And so here what I like is this example for AI for life. And this is a very interesting one. So let's say, as we are in the new year, that we made some New Year's resolutions. And what I really want to do is to have an indication from an application of how should I work towards achieving those particular goals. Well, this application that was created as a playground for my by my colleagues was created exactly for that. So here I can put my name, and I can say what my goals are for 2024. And let's say I want to improve my German skills, spend more time with family, and let's say, what do I want to swim better? And so I can click on a bingo card, and now I'm going to see what are the suggestions that this application is giving to me personally. So this is just an example to show you that all those applications that are being suggested to you when you want to use something that incorporates Gen AI, well, it has LLM components, it has H2O GPT sometimes components, and it personalizes based on the information you give, the entire data collection they have. And so here, as you see, just an example, well, if I want to do these goals correctly, well, here it is, here are some examples of what I can do. Practice German with a language exchange app, watch a German news broadcast or podcast, a lot of suggestions about that. To improve my swimming capabilities, well, swim 10 laps in a row. To spend more time with my family, well, I can plan a family trip to a German speaking country. This way we can have both of the goals in one go, which is awesome. So yeah, I would definitely use this application if I wouldn't feel inspired. And of course, you can personalize this application and apply it to a lot of different use cases. Yeah. Let's say the second one. Let's say you are interested in creating a recipe. Well, you can click on Tomato AI and that's not the recipe. That's actually if you want to grow your own vegetables or plants. Let's say that you're living in a temperate area and that you want to plant zucchini and you have just one number of beds. Let's say, what should I do? What is the succession planting? And so if I click on this, well, there is a H2O GPT that has been fine-tuned on this type of topics. And here I receive specific steps to complete. And I might be interested based on these particular steps to find additional information, such as what is the frequency of watering in France, sorry, in France where I live. And I can interact with the chat itself and receive even more personalized information. So it's best to water them when the top inch of soil feels dry to the touch. Interesting. Like I might include that. Like that is it's not giving a number per se, but it's giving an indication of how to find yourself that number based on the particular area that you live in. So yeah, go ahead and actually play with these tools because they're very fun, and I had a lot of fun actually preparing this presentation just because I was able to play with them a bit more. So as you see, you also have audio summarization, which is a great tool. You give a particular link. Here, this is an audio, and it has been translated. I'm just giving you the prompts here. It has been translated, and I can click on summarize and summarize the entire information. What is interesting is that I also am able to receive the sentiment analysis of it. So to see how much of it is positive, how much of this particular audio is negative. And that's great because for particular business cases, you might actually be interested in the sentiment itself, not the information that has been summarized there. We have meal planning, we have make your own home listing, so all sorts of real life scenario examples that you can have. We can also have other types of applications that are used for some of our clients' use cases. And here, let me see. Let's see, what should I take? Well, let's say I'm interested in writing answers very, very fast, but I did not correct them. Here, what I can do is actually to correct for grammar and syntax, copy paste the content here, and choose if I only want a sentence case, a title case, upper or lower case, and review the content itself. I didn't do any grammar mistake, I think, so there won't be any here, but play around with this, so you will see that maybe when you are in a hurry, you would use this type of application. Company information is another example that we have. So this is an application that incorporates a lot of data sets with information about different companies. It can give the company overview, main competitors, company financials. And here, this is an example on Apple. Let's generate the information. Let's see what the company is all about if we don't already know it. And let's see what the output is. Of course, you can personalize this application as well. In addition to companies, you can actually give I don't know, information on the products themselves. And I think this is a useful application that people can customize in order to improve their customer services, where the customers are interested in getting additional details on specific product requirements. So here I have an information about the company, and this is summarized a bit like this. And you can use some other companies if you are interested. That's once again an example. We can improve the code and clean it. We can create a cycling training plan if we are interested. This can also apply to running. Let's go with the default settings and say that I'm a beginner and I want to train 4 times per week with this particular numbers for weight and height, and I'm interested in a training plan. Can I get one? And so this is what H2O GPT is going to do. It has been already trained and fine-tuned on this type of domains, and it is right now creating a plan for us so that we can improve our cycling capabilities. And so here we have an output with 4 days per week, and it gives you actually the output. So it says on Monday, do this particular exercises. This is what you will do on Tuesday. You will recover. And you will only write 30 to 45 minutes. On Wednesday, you also have some exercises. So you see, it's interesting to work with this. You can also improve it a bit if you want in terms of input settings. Let's take one more example here. Let's say that I am a call center. So I want to create an application for my company, which is a call center. And this is based on the client's input, right? So here, let's get started. We are going to check H2O pre-generated transcripts with sentiment and topic analysis. And this is the case for example calls analysis. Let's say that I take this first examples and I want to see the details. This is a table that is going to give me this information. So we had a call with the client, and unfortunately the client was not happy. We have the call recording. This is disabled, but actually this transcript was based on the call recording, and we incorporated the functionality that transcript the audio to text. We have the audio here, and this audio text of the audio here, and this audio has been analyzed. Let's say I'm a customer satisfaction manager and I have a list of discussions, all the discussions that are happening during the day in real time, where I have this application which has a very easy user interface. I am able to see the text of that audio, and I am going to see the topics. So there is in the backend a model that uses summarization to extract the topics of that particular audio. Another brick is actually using sentiment analysis to see what is the sentiment associated to that particular topic. And then there is a summarization and an advice with respect to what should we do. So here, this particular client was talking about credit card issues, online payment, technical issues, bank services, customer frustration. And as you see, all of them are associated to a negative sentiment. This technical issue here has been considered neutral. And underneath, we are going to find the summarization of the discussion. Maybe the discussion was during 15 minutes call, and we are going in 3 lines, have the summarization of that discussion that indicates that the customer's credit card number is not visible in the app, and the agent did not provide a solution to this issue. Customer needs to make an online payment for a train ticket, but the technical issue is preventing them from doing so. The customer expressed their dissatisfaction with the service and mentioned that they will need to change banks. That's very unfortunate feedback. And so now I would normally, as a customer satisfaction manager, try to solve this problem. And here we receive some indications of what should we do. Of course, this entire application is fine-tuned on particular documents that you, if you want to integrate that in your own company's use case, can fine-tune even more, because you might have, as a call center, a sort of a booklet that indicates to the agent what are the required steps in each particular situation. You would feed this document to the application and you would receive even more personalized feedback with respect to it. Here you have some other types that you can play with. Let's take an example. Let's say I'm a customer myself and want to indicate or write a feedback to the call center. Let's say, great help. Thanks for solving the technical issue. Normally this, if I'm going to submit it, H2O GPT is analyzing it, and we should have a topic extracted with a positive sentiment associated, which is actually the case. Based on the provided text, there is no customer exchange provided. Therefore, we cannot identify any outstanding issues. So I can see that this application has been fine-tuned to actually solve tickets and issues. Here we had the topic technical issue, and this was positive. And of course, we can also have reports incorporated into our own pages that are being generated by default. Here I can personalize those reports, and I can see, for example, top topics that are suggested by our clients when they are calling. We have top 5 topics in calls, emails, and chats, and we can incorporate even more applications into this. So as you see, it's fun to work with Gen AI once you know the correct ways to do it. But the good part is that we have evolved technologically in this period so much that the user does not need particular knowledge with respect to, let's say, Python developing or different APIs. The user needs to understand the basic principles of what GenAI is, what LLMs can do, and what are the possibilities based on the data that is being provided.